so here is going to be, I'm going to do like a 5-minute rundown of why Riot is struggling with the game right now and why the game is having balance issues. So ultimately, hold on one second. Okay. Riot switched to the new runes. They did a couple of things. So a lot of people compare the keystones to the prior keystones, or to the prior, whatever it was called, Keystone, Mastery, whatever. And that's not the problem. I think the keystones are fine. I really do. The keystones are very similar to what they used to be back in the old system. But where the problem lies is in the fact that when they took away the old ruin system, they said to compensate for this, we are going to give champions all these base stats and stats per level, right? So whether that's magic resist, armor, health, what have you, right? AD, et cetera, et cetera. And so that right there in and of itself makes everything about levels, right? You get more levels, you're going to get more of these stats. Then on top of that, the one thing that the old ruins never had was that, or the old masteries never had, is they never had scaling like mid-tier level masteries, right? So think of the domination tree, right? Your row 1 is pretty flat, right? It's not really anything that's going to scale with level or anything like that. But then the second row, right, is Ghost Portal, all of that. That's all a snowballing type of rune. Then you have the last tree, which is either going to give somebody who's snowballing more ultimates to use. It's going to make them faster. It's going to give their item cooldowns a lot less than everybody else, or it's going to give them a shit ton of healing on their items or on their abilities. Same concept in the precision tree, right? You have the attack speed, tenacity, and whatever the fuck it's called, alacrity, the attack speed. That's once again a snowballing type rune. And like, now you're forcing everyone like into this scaling based on levels, kills, etc. So now all these little things start to fucking add up and hurt your team that people don't understand, right? Like not giving kills or taking away cannon minions or fucking like just dying to somebody accidentally. Like, oh, boom, they could have gotten another stack on their ultimate hunter. Like now you just gave them 3% less cooldown on top of the fact that they got levels, right? Then they went and they nerfed all the fucking defensive items for fucking squishies, right? They reverted lethality, basically back to armor pen, but this time worse because now it scales into late game, right? And like the whole issue with armor pen in the past was the fact that if a AD like assassin or AD bruiser, whatever that builds armor pen got ahead, the game felt suffocating. So when they came out with lethality, sure, it wasn't spot on right off the get-go, right? I think they did like a 40% up front, 60% based on the enemy's level. That's the key piece with lethality. And the whole reason that they sold lethality was that it's based on the enemy's level. And the reason for that was to limit the insane snowballing of getting early lethality items and to give the team that's behind, it's not that big of a, comeback, but it gives them a chance. And it's less about them doing more damage to higher level people and more about higher level people doing a little bit less damage to people that are behind, right? That was the whole balance behind lethality. That's why instead of an item having, 12 armor pen, it now has 21 armor pen or lethality. But then Riot forgets about this and they switch lethality to scaling off your own level. So now, not only does the person behind not have any chance of coming back because they're not going to do more damage if they build lethality, right? They're out of the game. Talent, out of the game. Like, done, right? Like, they're useless. It now makes the other person even stronger because they're going to continue to get levels. Like, That literally just made that fucking problem worse. Right? And then you have the last piece is Riot's love for Zhonya's and AP. They constantly have, focus on AD items, but they don't look at AP. The prime example was Hextech Gunblade that we looked at earlier, right? Hextech Gunblade does more damage. It doesn't speed you up, but it slows the other person down, and it's only on a 40-second cooldown. Like, that's supposed to be a hybrid item that gives you 80 AP. 80 AP. Like, a lot of AP items are 90 AP, and a couple are 100. And then, of course, you have, the death cap, right, at 120, which I'm fine with death cap. I'd like to see the total AP that death cap gives toned down a little bit, right? But then you give all the mages, health items. And now, from, like an AD carry perspective, or even from a bruiser who's behind perspective, everyone has to build defensive because they're just going to get blown up. But the one rule that has always been around in League is that if you are behind, you can't afford to build defensively. And so now you're trapped. You're trapped between, if I build defensively, I'm not going to do any fucking damage whatsoever. So what does it even fucking matter if I'm alive? Or if you do, build items, right? Like, now you're going to get fucking one-shot. And to top that all off, with the whole bounty system that they have in, and they made it only so the person who gets the kill gets the bounty, that means that a support having Ignite accidentally taking it just fucking wrecks your chance of coming back against that, matchup. Like, all these things add up together, but Riot is gonna stick on the fucking rune system, which they made even worse by implementing the different options for the 3 options, because now for people that already got compensated with a bunch of early damage that Riot gave them when they switched, they now can go defense, or they can go AD defense, health. They have way more options. And so until they come out and recognize that, the problem is Riot doesn't even understand what's wrong with their game. They don't understand why the game is snowballing out of control. But the fact of the matter is, the people that they gave all the base stats to are the people that also build health, and health plus resistances. Resistances are more effective on champions with more health. That's just the reality of it, right? 1 armor increases your effective health against physical damage by 1%. So if I have 1,000 health and I have 100 armor, it's going to take 2,000 physical damage to kill me. But if I have 2,000 health, it's now going to take 4,000 physical damage to kill me, right? I just got double the effective health. And so when you have champions like Pyke, for instance, who has 2,300 base health, doesn't even have to build fucking defense because he gets 119 base fucking armor. He has the highest base health in the game, and he gets 100 and something armor. There's no counterplay to that. There just isn't. There's lots of champions that fit this. I'm just using a couple of examples here and there. But that right there is the issue. And so the game is going to continue to be this fucking clusterfuck of a shit show until Riot sees that and understands it and brings back the ability to choose your runes and stuff. Because if I had an easy laning phase, right, I would go scaling magic resist runes, right? Fuck, let me get this for later. I don't really need it early, so I would have 17 magic resist early. Super low magic resist. But then I would have 40 or 50, whatever the fuck it was, later on. That was huge. But even if you look at pro play, man, fucking IG beat SKT in 16 fucking minutes. That should never happen in a pro game. And honestly, I would be okay with where the game is at right now when I read the patch notes, I actually felt like they were doing something to get it a little bit more accurate. Right? Like when I read these patch notes, look at this. This is what they talk about. Some bigger updates for Janna and Yuumi, a soft revert to Zac, right? And then we're going to talk about the skin, and then we're going to talk about the icon, and then we're going to talk about the Challenger recall. What? Then we finally nerf Karthus. You know what? Sorry, we're going to bring that back. We finally nerf Yi a little bit. Sorry, we're going to bring this back. What? Why? Like, how lazy is this? Oh, you guys can't even fucking see my screen. Hold on. This is your patch rundown. We're going to highlight the skin. We got a Gragas buff. And we have a Karthus nerf, which, by the way, we reverted 90% of this Karthus nerf. And that is literally the end of the fucking patch highlights. What the fuck does this tell me? This looks like you spent 10 fucking seconds on it. Like, we're lowering Akali's ability to deal consistent and sustained damage, a strength that's a huge part of her power discrepancy between the highest level play and everyone else. No. The thing with Akali is that she fucking blows people up and doesn't get punished for it. Alright, we'll move on. We're reverting Amumu. How many times do they have to revert things? Choosing this line specifically because too much of his strength is tied up in his passive. We want to keep the rest of his abilities feeling strong. No, sorry, he's now going to probably fall out of the meta. Making a small quality of life change that Echo players should appreciate. Echo will now consistently basic attack at his regular cadence after using phase dive instead of having to wait for his animation. Okay. Galio. We're shifting some of Galio's baseline damage he leans on as a support into W's ratio as a stronger reward for AP building damaging mid lane capability. Why do we even need to fucking look at Galio? Like, he can just stay off to the side for a little bit. We got plenty of other issues, Riot. Like, sick. Okay. These changes are huge. Alright. Then, for no fucking reason, we're going to give Gragas another 17 health. We're going to give him 6 more health per level. And we're going to give him 3 more AD per level. Then you have Janna. I don't even give a fuck about Gragas. Right now, Janna feels like a poke mage early in the game instead of a peeling and shielding support champion. We're taking this opportunity to encourage more kinds of interaction between her and everyone else than a point-and-click harass, especially in lane, so she can get the most out of all her abilities. So they're lowering the cooldown on Zephyr, but they're decreasing the damage on it. And then each ability that slows or knocks back an enemy champion reduces Eye of the Storm's cooldown by 20%. Wait, isn't this her shield? Okay. Jace is too reliable of a pick in pro play. Given his strong early game, we're nerfing his scaling to give opponents more of a chance when they get out of laning phase. Okay, I don't really think this is fully Jace's issue, but alright. And Karthus, all they did was they lowered the fucking damage by 50 on the ultimate. 50. The champion fucking hits me for 2/3 of my health and they lowered it by 50. Like, they reverted this. With everything going on, man, like, what are these changes? Rammus's ult isn't the problem. Warwick's healing isn't the problem. Warwick's not even a problem. Yuumi, I'm not even gonna fucking go to this champion. Zac, like, yeah, I just said Warwick's not a problem, so, like, I mean, this is fine. Like, this, okay, I'm okay with this. This makes sense, right? Like, I'm fine with this. You're saying that you want to affect his healing, and then you give him more healing. And then there's Zach. That's it. I don't even know why they fucking changed Karthus' ult back. Like, what? The fact that Karthus jungle gets played in pro play is absolutely atrocious.